Boatworks Today is sponsored by Total Boat and Alexial Yacht Coatings, as well as supported by the generosity from the beautiful folks over on Patreon. Thank you so much.
So welcome back to Shop, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Andy with Boatworks Today, and this week, well, we did a thing. The Armstrong bracket is no more. How did it go? I guess we'll have to just wait and see. So at this point, I think I've gotten all of the prep work done, at least that I'm able to do here. There's 2 remaining bolts, 1 in each corner that I was able to get those loosened up. Now I'm gonna leave those in place, essentially just as a safety net, so that when this platform does separate from the transom, it doesn't go hit the ground, because I can guarantee you that would be either 1, very expensive to repair, or very expensive to replace. So I don't want to go down that road. So I'm going to leave those 2 bolts there in place. Now there is a little bit of wiggle room. So I think there's enough wiggle room there so that it's going to be able to help me to kind of separate it without anything going crash and boom. I got all of the mounting holes for the bolts that are inside of here. I got all those tapped. Now I didn't go very deep, maybe just a 1/4 inch, maybe even 1/2 inch, hell, I don't know. But I got them all tapped in so that when this does come apart, if there's some parts of this that you just got to throw some horsepower at and some parts of the transom end up coming off with it, I think that the markings are going to be deep enough that even if a couple layers of glass come off with this, I'm still going to be able to find them, and it should be pretty easy to kind of go ahead and move forward from there. I also got, I don't know if this is really doing much of anything, but I did get a couple of jack stands on the underside, the back underside of this platform here, just to kind of give some upward pressure. My thought at the time when I was putting these in place was that, well, when I'm making my cuts along the underside, the bottom here, it's just going to help to prevent the blade from getting pinched. I don't know, but I gave it a few cranks last night, and a little surprised. Well, not really. It's just, yeah, it is what it is. But so right now, the only thing that's holding this platform against the transom is the 5200. And with these jack stands, I've got this entire back part of the boat. It's lifted up off of the trailer by, well, I didn't want to go too high, but it's about 1 inch up off of the rollers that's off the trailer. So I don't know how many, I don't know, probably a couple thousand, 1,000 pounds maybe. I'm spitballing here, but the only thing that's holding is the caulking, and it's just sitting here floating, and there's no separation along the bottom, nothing. I mean, this 5200 is some pretty impressive stuff. Now, I will say, I still stand by the fact, or the idea that in order to buy a 5200, you should have to have an applicator license, because that stuff, it gets used far too often in the wrong places. This was a good place to use it. I'm probably not going to remount this with 5200, because I'm a firm believer that, anything that you want to possibly have to take off down the road, you should be able to do it without, taking chunks of the boat off with it. So I'm probably not going to be using 5200 when I put this back in, but whatever, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So now at this point, I'm ready to start actually doing some cutting. Now, for doing the cutting, I was trying to come up with, what can I use that, it's relatively thin kerf. The teeth in here, they're aligned. So, on some saws, you've got offset teeth. Well, if I try to, use an offset tooth on here, it's going to chew the crap out of the aluminum, off of the transom. It's going to tear things up. So these teeth on here, these are, it's like a flush trim bit or a flush cut saw. So all the teeth are aligned. So it's not going to give me much drag. It's not going to tear things up too much. So I think this is going to work out pretty well. And it's super flexible in case it needs to, kind of do a little bit of a hook at some point, along cutting this, separating this from the transom. Let's see what else. The debonder. All right, so I ordered 2 different types of debonder. The first one is called unadhesive. I'll see if I can include some pics or pics somewhere up in here. But it's unadhesive, and again, I've not used either one of these products, but they were fairly well reviewed online. So I figured, well, I'm not going to hold my breath that they're going to really be the saving grace for being able to break down 5200, because I know that's not going to be the case. But at least if they can help a little bit, that'll be a win. So the first one is unadhesive. And then the other one was, I think it was probably the one that was most recommended in the comment section last week. And it's the Debond Marine Formula. So pretty cool. I don't have them in hand yet, but they have shipped. They are en route. So I suspect I'll probably see those on, well, Monday's a holiday, so I'll probably see those on Tuesday. But between now and then, I'm going to try and cut as much as I can with this. I'm not going to be able to access everything on here. But I'm going to try and cut what I can, and then I'm going to save the debonder for, the areas that the saw is just not going to be able to reach. So we shall see. All right, so I think I've had about as much fun as I'm going to be able to stand tonight. Now, on a very, very long shot, I did crank up the tongue of this trailer here about another inch, which is going to put more tension on this back platform. I would say along the bottom of the bracket, I've got maybe about 85%, like it's cut, but the platform's still not peeling away from the transom. So I don't know. I'm gonna, again, like I said, I jacked up the front, put some more stress on here overnight. Maybe gravity will work in my favor. Probably not, but it can't hurt. So on that note, I'm gonna check out for tonight, and I shall see you all in the morning. So good morning. Well, as you can see, I got a little bit of a smile on my face. Now, I came into this morning with a plan in mind, and that plan just got completely blown out of the water, but in a very, very good way. Check this out. All right, looking up on top. Maybe the angle looks a little bit more extreme than it was last night. Looky here. We got full separation. Now, unfortunately, I did not get the pop or the actual separation on camera. I'm guessing that, well, obviously it happened at some point over the night, probably when I was sleeping or something. But I don't really care. I'm a results kind of a guy, and I will take that every day of the week. Now I just gotta get the top separated, but we're gonna use a little bit of leverage. We're gonna work smarter, not harder. Let me show you what I got going on. So what I'm thinking might work out pretty slick is, so right now the only thing that's holding this platform on, besides my little safety net bolts here, is some caulking along this top edge. So I wanna create a little bit of a fulcrum point right along through here. I can lower this platform back down. That's gonna make the top want to pull away. So with a little bit of luck, I should be able to just kind of break that beauty bead on top, and hopefully that top will separate as well. And then the thing is free flying. We can pick it up, get it out of the way. So that is the plan. We'll see how it goes. All right, same thing on the other side. All right, so I've got my wedges in both port and starboard side corners as far up as I can get. So now I'm gonna drop the tongue of this trailer, just, because I raised that up to add a little bit extra force because my jack stands are pretty much bottomed out. I can't really go any higher on those. So I jacked up the bow of the trailer here, and that created more leverage, which worked out to my benefit last night. But now I wanna drop it down. Let's go see if anything happened back here. But looking across the top here, I'm not seeing any separation, which I'm not surprised. So now I'm gonna start cranking these things down evenly, probably 2 turns per stand until pretty much all of the weight has been dropped off of these stands and it's just kind of hinging right there. That's gonna give me the best leverage for cutting this top free. Ooh. Well, weight's back down on the jack stands. Let me try cutting this loose. I gotta make a decision here. These things are gonna need to get shifted forward. Otherwise, when it does actually get completely separated, it's not going to balance and it's going to fall. So I've got some help coming up here in, I don't know, maybe like a half hour to kind of do the final separation. I'm hoping that this isn't going to be too heavy for 2 people. It is all aluminum. I don't think it's all that heavy, but I don't think it's going to be, super light either. So now at this point, I did a little bit more slicing with the razor blade along that top edge there, and it started to drop even more. So a lot more separation. Now I've got pretty much complete separation across the entire back, which is pretty sweet. One little section right there. And my blocks are tightened up again, so it did shift. I kind of want to wait until I got another set of hands here before I do too much more, to be perfectly honest. So now we hurry up and wait. So, quite honestly, that could not have gone any better. We had one little mishap where it slid off the rollers. But that's all right. If that's the least of my problems. There was no damage, maybe a little bit of scraped up, but beyond that, all good. Now, as far as how this thing is actually separated, pretty much what I was anticipating. So bottom paint layers peeled apart. So the bottom paint came off with the bracket, and then up on these upper areas, the layers of paint themselves literally just peeled. So this is, well, let's see. Yeah, that's just a layer of topside paint. So the layers of paint themselves, the blue, it just peeled and separated. And on here, the compound just didn't even bond all that well to the paint that was on the transom. So as far as here, the paint itself peeled apart. And so we're down to the actual fairing compound here. And then down along the bottom, again, because when they sprayed the blue on here, they sprayed the entire transom. So the bottom paint was on top of the topside paint, and kind of as I was anticipating, the bottom paint just peeled right apart. So there is absolutely zero doubt in my mind that had this been actually launched in the water, it would have started leaking, if not right away, certainly within very short order. So as much as I didn't want to take this off, when it's all said and done, it went about as smoothly as it possibly could, and I'm glad I did it. So it is what it is. So as far as getting back to the transom now, next week then, we've got, I'm going to sand the entire transom down. I'm going to get it back down to either the primer or the actual fairing compound. So scuff up all of this blue across the top, remove all of the bottom paint along the bottom, the stripe. There's some little fiberglass damages that I need to take care of. Somehow, I managed to run a screw in here, or through there, when I was doing the bonding in the Kusa sheets. And, to keep things symmetrical, I had to do it on both sides. So a little bit of glass work there. But for the most part, it's just going to be a lot of sanding and some fairing and some small glass work. So looking at all this right now, one thing that I've learned over all the years is sometimes you just got to quit while you're ahead. So right now, I'm thinking I'm going to go out on a high note and end this video here. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found this interesting. And if you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you in advance. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave those down below. I will do my best to follow up with you. And as always, I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. We're going to be 25 to 30 below zero on Monday, so great times. But anyways, have a great weekend, and I will see you in the next video, which will be next week. Later.
This has been a Boatworks Today production.